Hello, we are live. Welcome to After Church Tea Time. My name is Carmen. I'm your host for today. I'm here with Nadia and Lisi. Welcome, ladies. Hello, nice to have you here, and nice to have all of you here with us watching this After Church Tea Time live. And we are here to discuss the sermon by Shaleia about the humanity of Jesus on Easter, but we are also introducing a new tradition for After Church Tea Time because it's called After Church Tea Time. And so now I'm going to start introducing my cup of tea, and I'm drinking actually a sort of like chai latte with turmeric and I don't know, some honey and whatever I liked in it. So this is it. It's also a very special cup. It
Just married.
Yes, just married. And here on the other side, wait, it's still full. It's a chocolate and a milk.
Oh my goodness.
It's this, I don't know, it's a German brand. It's called Kinder, like children is the translation of it. And it has this very twin flamey touch of it because they're in love and together they taste really well.
Oh,
And yeah, that's what I'm drinking. So what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking, it's called lalcha. It's my mom's homemade tea. She puts cinnamon, cloves, and bay leaf and simmers it for hours until it's red. And that's why it's called lal, which is red. And she puts a little bit of black tea in the end, and it's just so soothing and great for colds or anytime.
Great. I'm also drinking a red tea. This is rooibos from South Africa. I'm not from South Africa, but I fell in love with this tea when I lived in the UK. There was a lot of people from South Africa around me, and you can get it in these, the bags, but this is actually loose leaf. And so I put it in a press pot and I mix it with some honey and milk. And it's so great. It's got this it's caffeine free, and it has this kind of rich umami flavor, which is like my favorite type of flavor. So super good.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Yeah. So enjoy. Maybe our audience also wants to share in the comments what they are drinking. We would love to see because it seems very special, like we are all having special drinks here. And we are going to talk about this juicy topic on today's sermon. And I feel this sermon was also very special because it talks again about Jesus, and like Easter is a very spiritual festival. Let's say festival, like spiritual, very spiritual days going on, or holiday thing. And I felt this sermon was really grounding, helping me to ground more in God and comforting me and knowing that He is there with me all the time. And this is the only thing I always have to remember, whatever I am going through. And I also like that Soraya shared, like, we all have to go through like mini crucifixions on our own, like challenges. And that there are also no big or small challenges. They're kind of like all the same. And we just have to remember that God is there with us all the time, and then we are able to go anywhere. And we also learn that it's worth it to move through anything that is coming on our way. And I feel that the story of Jesus really taught us also what Jeff and Shaleia have been through and what they share about their healing journey, that it's worth it to move for anything, and that it's possible to move for anything and to manifest everything that you desire. And I feel that was my biggest takeaway from today's sermon. So I'd love to hear what you have to share about.
Yeah, I really took away, you kind of pointed to it, but it was really that, Jesus walked through the fires and showed us that we could do it, because I think the thing that stood out for me the most, what Surya said, was that when you're accompanied when you've got God with you and you know God's with you, you can go through anything. And I liked how she related it to the twin flame journey. Like, you know, just having that accompaniment, like knowing that you're not alone is helpful. And you still have to walk the path, but knowing that you have that support and that love. Yeah.
I really liked what you said, Carmen, about no challenge is too small or too big, because I was thinking about that before our sermon and thinking how drastically our lives change in this community and in this journey. And to think that we may not have made that choice to come into this journey in this lifetime. And then I was asking God, what about all the other people that didn't choose? And they may get to choose in the next lifetime, and their challenges are also just as equal as ours. But like, each life is so phenomenal and so beautiful in its changes. And we get to see such directness with God and Jesus, and like walk along with them so closely. And it's just really beautiful and something to be very grateful for, because we all go through the cave of fear, whether we're in the twin flame journey or not. But I feel we get this extra support because of our alignment and our devotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to add more about devotion because it linked me back to beauty and devotion, to the card reading. And truly, I see the beauty of devotion because it creates such a beautiful community. And that community of sisterhood that was talked about in the card reading, it's just so pure, and it shines so brightly through all of our sisters. And yeah, it's like you can see right in front of us God's beauty by just our faith.
Yeah, that's a beautiful share. I also like about the story of Jesus and the sermon today, knowing that faith will get us anywhere. And even sometimes we don't see and really feel that God is there with us. He always is. And we just have to have faith that even though a challenge might seem so like unbearable for us, or like it stretches over a long period of time, you have to have faith that there is light at the end of the tunnel and it is already within you. And it's also like, it's funny because today was really the first day of spring here. This is how I felt. It was really warm. It was really almost sunny outside. You could hear the birds. And this is, for me, it felt like the first day of spring today. And I felt like dressing up for it also with the flowers in my hair and all, because like matching the vibe of spring.
Yeah, those are very cute.
Thank you. And yeah, it felt like for me now coming out of a long dark night period through this winter. It was really cold. It was really almost dark, and I've been through a lot of challenges starting at the 1st of January this year. And I feel like I'm just coming out of it, and I'm just really seeing and feeling my divinity and seeing it in everyone else as well. I even was at the gym today and I was like, oh my God, everyone is so beautiful. And I'm learning to, to choose also these matching thoughts in beauty. And it really helps and amplifies, like seeing so many people who are confident where I was judging them before, like, oh my God, she's so arrogant, let's say like this. But then I realized like, well, this is not a thought that I'm choosing. I'm not choosing to judge anybody. I'm not choosing to judge myself, because I can't judge anyone, and it's always just a mirror, right? So I must be judging myself somewhere within myself. And so I chose to align my thoughts here with the divine and say, okay, so this is like my homework for this week, saying and feeling something good about the other person. Like, let's say they're dressing up like I would never dress up in the gym, for example. I always felt like it's maybe leaky to dress up like this, but then I chose to see like, but I really admire their confidence. I would never wear this, and that's totally fine, but I admire their confidence. So I said, God bless their confidence, God bless their beauty. And I felt like instantly this positive vibe moving through me, even moving through all the people. And it was probably the best gym experience I ever had so far. And yeah, it's beautiful. I wasn't aware that it can be so easy, but it is. Knowing and choosing to align with God is really like the most powerful thing you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it feels here where I'm living in South Carolina, we've had like, fits and starts of spring. It became very cold in the past 2 days and rainy. And then today is finally bright and sunny again. So I definitely feel that. I mean, there's so many takeaways from the sermon. I almost don't know where to start, but I mean, I will share kind of like personally, for Easter, my family would go to church every Easter, and we didn't go this time, but um, I also want to kind of talk about what Soraya said about Jesus being a person. And like she said, like I always learned that, there were humans and then there was Jesus over here. And I felt kind of a distance. Like I always admired Jesus and loved Jesus, but it almost seemed like he was a superhuman being. And that the way that she described how he moved through challenges, showing us the way, like saving humanity by showing them how to save themselves in a way. And so it was like a really healing way to look at it. And I really appreciate Soraya's relationship with Jesus. And, it really helps me to go back and kind of like revisit my own experiences as a child learning in the church. I think maybe as a child, like you can be aware of things that adults don't know, that children are smart, like they're capable of understanding. So um it's really healing to like get to know Jesus again in a new way.
I really like that you brought up relationship with Jesus, because for a long time I didn't have a relationship with Jesus. Like growing up in a Muslim background, our predominant messenger of God was the Prophet Muhammad. But as I looked through the Quran, Jesus was mentioned even more than the Prophet Muhammad. And it just shows how remarkable this man was. And my most favorite thing about him is that he's a healer. When I heard that he was a healer, I was like, wow, this man is amazing. And of course, there was a distance, because how could I reach that level of ascension? But God had made it so clear that Jesus is our brother. And so before the sermon, before our after church tea talk, I was telling Jesus, like, brother, please be with me so that I could talk about you clearly, and that, you know, I would like to feel your presence and your love. And it's so easy to get Jesus's love and consciousness when you're thinking about him. It's really kind. It's really kind of God to have a man like Jesus walk this earth and show us forgiveness and so many other things.
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful. I also feel, as you just mentioned, you both just mentioned, that we are healing our relationship to Jesus as well, and also as a collective. Like, I also went to church when I was younger, and I wanted to actually enter the church, but I had kind of like free will, and I chose not to, because I felt there was something off. And this off feeling was that, like, how it is taught today is not complete for me anymore. And so I'm really grateful for unionism, because it combines all the religions like in one, and it has it all in one, you know. And I feel something that I grew up with and that I didn't like was like, people are teaching that God is like a punisher, or God punishes you when you do mistakes. And this is how I felt about the crucifixion when I was growing up. Like, oh yeah, it's true, God really does punish you, or there must be some place where within Jesus where he deserved that, or I don't know, you know. And this was really so heavy on my chest. But now feeling into the sermon, and also what we are doing here with the teachings of union, is like we are becoming Christ consciousness. It's still called Christ consciousness because this is it. And like Jesus and all the other saints have laid the foundation so that we can go deeper here, and the world is ready for twin flames finally. We don't have to wait to ascend off from Earth and then be with our twin flame, but be with our twin flame now and ascend together. And like, this is a really, really fast track. And I'm so grateful for all the saints and also Jesus. And I also really deepened my relationship with him in a way. And I also even have him on as my background. I want to share you guys, show you guys. Maybe you can see it. I love it so much. It really reminds me a lot like this lamp and him carrying it. It feels like actually I'm held by God all the time. And it also shows me my innocence and helps me see and heal in that space, and knowing like I'm always supported, I'm always carried, and God will always look for the one who is not yet with him, like consciously with him. We all are with him, but yeah, it's really a pure and divine thing. And I'm so grateful that we are able to heal deeper here. And yeah.
I'm really inspired by you guys' connection with Jesus. And I have a quote from A Course of Miracles, because I was talking to God about how can I get more familiar with Jesus. And he gave me a page, and I'll read a line. For he who loves the world is seeing it for you, without one spot of sin upon it, and in the innocence that makes the sight of it as beautiful as heaven. So his transcendence, Jesus' transcendence of his body, and recognizing that he is the Holy Spirit and giving us that gift of consciousness, was what I really got from my connection with Jesus. And like, as we are one, we also, of course, go through our own cave of fear. But for someone, as Shaleia was saying, to be in such distress, to be bleeding like sweat, and still go forth with such strong faith, is just so remarkable. It just shows us how far we've come. And when I think of Jesus, I automatically think of Mary, Mother Mary, and the miracle that she had performed just to bring Jesus into this world. And then I thought about grace. I thought about how grace will come into this community, come into harmonious union from birth. And that was also very miraculous for me. Yeah, it was just like, it felt like a whole full circle for me.
That's really beautiful. And I just wanted to share, this is the first time I'm meeting Nadia face to face, even though it's on Zoom. And as you shared about the Quran, it made me curious about the connection there and the kind of continuation of Christ consciousness through other messengers of God. And, it's like these miracles, especially the miracle of Easter, where um, Jesus did rise from the dead, like literally, like it wasn't a metaphor. Um, and he stayed around, I think, for 40 days with his disciples and continued to like fortify and foster their understanding of the teachings. It just really it helps me to understand that we're never going to be left alone, like through the progressive revelations that come, and the court that you read in the Course in Miracles, that we become Christ consciousness, and yet also we still need that accompaniment, like that you're alluding to, and that we're never alone. And I just think it's so nice how it Christ is opened up to outside of the traditional church doors, right? It's something that everybody can have and learn about and experience.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I feel like you guys know the series, the new series, The Chosen. Yeah, it's also very healing, and it helped me also go deeper with Christ consciousness and also getting to know Jesus on a deeper level. And I really, really, really fell in love, like deeply with all of it. I once read the Bible, but I was very young when I read it, and I think it was even like made for children, so I was able to digest it as a child before like considering like entering the church, really. But this series is really also showing like what is possible, like also despite like the teachings of Union and Twin Flame Ascension School and Life Purpose class and everything, like the Church of Union itself. Like this series, I think it's the first series about Jesus. Usually there were only like movies about him, but this one really goes deep, and it's also really healing. And just a little disclaimer, it was very also healing for me to watch it as an actress, as a point of an actress, seeing like, wow, watching a movie can be, watching a series can be really healing, like really healing. There are scenes that really made me like cry a lot and just heal alongside with them. And also this series really helped me also to ground more into like seeing Jesus as a human being. And I feel that they really did a great job. There may be just something to consider to watch for the ones who are watching this after church tea time, if you like to go deeper here even more. And also there are other movies that just conveyed this message of today's sermon. Like it's called, I think, The Cabin or something, Weekend with God, right? Where there's this one scene, and I'm not going to spoiler, no worries if you haven't seen the movie. It's just this one scene where this guy is dealing with his fears, and he is on a lake, and it looks like the ship or this little boat where he is on is drowning. And then Jesus appears in front of him and says like, look at me, keep your eyes locked to mine, just don't look away. And for me, it really conveys like the message of today as well, like always remember who is walking alongside with you, and this is the way out. And I also liked what was been shared is like the same here, this picture of a child being afraid of the dark, but as soon as the child knows that he or she is not alone, it's so much more easier to move through the fear of the dark or the fear of being alone or abandonment, which is all not real. And I love that God knows that. I love that knowing that God already sees us perfect and divine as who we really are is like really amazing. And there is so much to go deeper with and explore and feel into what this really means, that there is no ego. It's stupid that we even have a word for it, because it's a joke. And but yeah, I'm really grateful for the teachings, and I'm really grateful to explore deeper our relationship with God, and getting to know that we are really all just the only child of God. And yeah, just really beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Jesus is a legend. What can I say? I just think about all the hard times I've been through in my life, and how could I have gotten through if not without God? And how could I have gotten through if not being a child of God, having strength, having power to go through them? And Jesus's strength really shines through, and capabilities shines through. So yeah, someone who doesn't know Jesus and like is getting to know their own divine self, I would say start with Jesus. You would really get to know the divine beauty and kindness God gives you when you get to know Jesus, and of course yourself.
Yeah, that it's always been so reassuring whenever I remember that I'm loved by God through Jesus. And I like the picture you have on your phone, Carmen, because that's kind of how I see Jesus, as, you know, a loving father brother type being that is real and, you know, forgiving. I think a lot of what I give myself when I, you know, connect with Jesus is a lot of forgiveness and seeing myself as a child, innocent, worthy of being accompanied and worthy of being loved, no matter what, no matter what you're going through. Just it just feels so easy, no matter what challenge you're facing, to know that you're loved and you're not alone.
Yeah, that brings me back to the crucifixion again, and how even while he was being tortured by his brothers and sisters, he was still like, forgive them, Father, for they don't know. And that kind of compassion and love, we can definitely learn from. We can definitely use at every moment, and for ourselves and other people. It's just so beautiful to forgive all of our sins and recognize that no sin really exists. There's no such thing. So that's how much forgiveness and love we get.
Yeah, this is true. This is, you know, in the twin flame journey, there's been so many moments that I look back on my journey and I see myself 2 years ago or 4 years ago, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't know then what I know now. And it has been such a gradual unfolding of truth and awareness about my oneness with my twin, that's like completely in tandem with, you know, waking up into Christ consciousness little by little by little. And you know, there were times I look back and I'm like, gosh, I was really not loving there, not loving myself, not loving my twin flame. It's, you know, there's a lot of forgiveness that is basically just recognizing your own innocence. I think the Course in Miracles talks about that too.
Mm. Mm. I just find it a deep honor to be able to ascend to that level of becoming Jesus conscious and Mary conscious and creating that example for the world and harnessing that light to spread to the world. It's just a great honor, and we don't have to get crucified. Like, thank God we have our own cave of fear, but it doesn't have to go to that point. And I'm really grateful for our brothers. Really grateful.
Yeah, same. That's a really good point. Like Jesus went down that path, so we don't have to go down the path that he walked and get literally crucified or martyred. But him going through it, I mean, sometimes I don't find the right words to say how I feel. It's just a feeling of utter awe, gratitude, and appreciation. And I wish there was a stronger word I could use, but I think that may do the job. So grateful.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, amen. Same here, for sure. I remember I went once through the fear when I heard what Jesus did, and he also did it like for us. I was like with God, oh my God, do I have to go through this as well? And I remember I was moving through this fear, and I don't feel like I'm going to get crucified or something, but sometimes the challenge can feel like this, and like it's not really comparable, but I think you get me here. Sometimes it can really feel like challenging. Otherwise, it would not be a challenge. And then I realized just before I was able to even face my fears and really go deeper, I had to face this fear of crucifixion, which was at the core like complete devotion to God and complete devotion to this path. And this is what Jesus taught us as well. And Shaleia through the sermon, like seeing his devotion, receiving his devotion, and that he had total faith, total trust, and total surrender to God. It was this unconditional love and surrender in God. No matter what, your will be done, right? And this is what I felt like I had to come as well within me, knowing like, okay, no matter what you are going to do or what you are going to bring up to the surface, God, within my reality, I choose to heal it, I choose to move through it, and it may take me for ages and eternity, it doesn't matter, I choose to follow you no matter what. And this is something that I came to realize that I needed this, and I feel like, of course, I'm still going deeper here. And I also realized I was able then to, what I was at when I was starting the twin flame journey, I was kind of like, yeah, still getting high, I think, and also repressing like my biggest fears. Like I remember I knew like if my twin flame would ever show me he is with another person, like this is going to be my dad. And so I said, I'm kind of like unconsciously said to God, I'm not ready for this. Please don't show it to me yet. I'm not ready for this. And it's in our hands. We can choose the pace, right? But at some point, I really came to the realization, okay, damn it, I have to face it. I know there is something, I'm not going to repress it anymore. And it instantly manifested in my reality, having the so-called hairbrush or third party situation, right? And from that point on, like, I'm really grateful that I've been through this. And if there is anything else, and there is, I'm not choosing to let it manifest, but catch it right now and move through it. So yeah, this is another point, like as you already both shared, right? We don't have to move through a crucifixion anymore. And when we are already afraid of something that could happen in the future, we have it in our hands to stop it. We don't have to manifest something. We don't have to manifest a big challenge for us to move through it. And the beauty is that I just watched a Twin Flame Ascension School class where they share, like, what if I don't hear God right away? What if I don't like hear him or see what's going on? We don't have to fear that, because God will find a way, and it will get louder and louder every time. And so, yeah, it's just, again, total surrender, total faith in God, and knowing we are just completely dependent on him. And that's a beautiful thing. This is the only dependence we want in our lives, and that's powerful.
That was beautiful, Carmen. Thank you. It reminded me, when you were talking about watching class, it reminded me of, kind of like the pathway, the spiritual lineage of Jesus, Muhammad, Yogananda, and then Jeff and Shaleia, and that they having a relationship with our gurus, with them, is having a relationship with Christ, with Jesus. It's not separate. And I remember Jeff and Shaleia sharing many times, they walked the path, they did the hard work to get to harmonious union so that we don't have to. Not so that we don't have to walk the path, but so that it's not as hard for us, right? Like, that's their gift that they gave, is the path to harmonious union, that they walked through the challenges so that, they could weed whack the way and forge the path, so that we can walk it with greater ease, more comfort, more accompaniment. And all of the couples in union and then harmonious union, every time they, tread the path and kind of wear it down a little more so it's smoother, and so it makes it easier for others. And I just thought about that, like, one of the quotes that Jeff said recently was like, pain is not the price of your joy. Like, you don't need to hurt to heal. You don't need to think of the pain as what you must experience in order to have joy. It's not the price of it. And I interpreted that as like, yeah, you got to feel your feelings and move through challenges, but you don't need to be Jesus, or you don't need to be Muhammad, or you don't need to be Jeff and Shaleia. That meaning, like, you don't need to go through that level of challenge to be you, to be with your union with God. And I really have been reflecting on that a lot recently, because it's like in not receiving that gift and being like, oh, no, I'm gonna reinvent the wheel over here in some ways, or I could do the easy way, but I really want to do the hard way. I know that I'd never really say that out loud, but some of my actions were communicating that. And I recently made a new choice, like, no, I don't want to do that. I choose to receive the gift of our gurus, of the manifestations of God, the divine Christs throughout time, that are like the masters, that are, the first torchbearers. And there is, a lot of relaxation, letting go of feeling like I had to be separate, that happened as I accepted my gurus into my heart, and then therefore Christ and all who came before too. So it's just a blessing, and it can be easy, and you don't have to prove anything by going through, manifesting your own crucifixion scenario, or, manifesting, choosing for it to be hard. You don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And it's really telling, because you guys kind of paved the path for me, because you've been in the journey longer, and your wisdom, your videos, it's what I hear, it's what I absorb, so that I can make my journey easier. And I know I've been in that place where you were saying, like, I have to invent the wheel, and I have to, like, do it separately, or like maybe what they're saying is not really what my journey needs. But really, it was a call for trust. It was a deep call for faith that this is the process, this is the path. And I know you guys said that you don't have to go through the hardships that you've been through, but I'm very grateful because I remember listening to your readings. And I remember I was in Paris alone, being so upset because I have a third party situation. And I was listening to your videos, Carmen, and I was like walking around the airport about to leave Paris, and that really helped me. So without you going through what you needed to be that particular voice at that moment, I couldn't have had a click there. So I'm thankful for that. And the same thing with you, Lisi. Without your readings and without the wisdom that you've given us, I wouldn't have hunkered down as much as I did. So yeah, we don't have to make it hard, but I'm also grateful for our challenges because it really gave us profound wisdom. And I wanted to ask you guys, what is one attribute of Jesus that you guys really admire? And I know I mentioned I really love that he's a healer. And like what connected me even more was learning the map and learning the mirror exercise, because growing up in a family that had chronic illnesses and a lot of pains, bodily pains and such like that, I asked for a miracle. Like I asked God, like, is there any way that they can be off of their pharmaceuticals, off of so many like issues? And God bestowed a miracle, like through this community, through the mirror exercise, through MAP. Like I know I dealt with PTSD for many years, and a lot of people say PTSD takes 10, 15 years to cure. Some people are not curable. And just like that with MAP, like the core of my issues were like resolved. And like I don't have any other word to say but miraculous. And it just reminds me of the healing powers Jesus had just with his hands. And I'm really grateful that it's like evolved through consciousness. Health is very important.
So a question about Jesus. Can you say the question again?
Yeah, what is one aspect of Jesus that you admire so dearly?
Oh man,
I
I
know
would
there's so
say
many.
it was like what comes to mind in my heart is his comfort.
Mm,
Is that every time I see him in a picture, I don't have it around me, but there's a deck by Doreen Virtue. It's the Loving Words of Jesus, in how he's just so comforting and um, present. Like it's a comforting presence, not a sharp presence.
mm,
Um, wanting to be with you kind of presence. It's very um, it's like a love that I inspire, that inspires me, and I inspire to aspire. There you go. It really influences me and makes me feel relaxed when I think about it.
mm. Yeah, I see that in your eyes, that comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we both shared very beautiful things. It's hard to say, but for me, the first thing that came up was like his innocence and his persistence. Like, I don't know, he was really, or he is really just taking life as it is and enjoying every moment, enjoying the company with God, and yeah, persist through everything, right? Persist through a crucifixion. It's, yeah, I also don't have really many words for that, but Lisa, you mentioned them really beautifully. You shared them very good. Yeah, I feel that's it for me. And that's something I also getting to know deeper about myself, like especially innocence. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I haven't seen The Chosen, but I did see a clip of it. And the clip that I saw was this woman that was trying to touch Jesus's cloak. And she said that if I could just touch his cloak, I would be healed. And she touched his cloak, and I think she got healed. And she was like, oh my gosh, Jesus, you healed me. And he said that it wasn't me that healed you, it was the belief that I could that healed you. And that was just phenomenal. Just how powerful our beliefs are and how powerful our convictions are. Yeah.
You watched a perfect scene or a perfect clip of it. It's a really powerful scene. There are more of this kind of like going into this, but yeah, it's true. It's really everything is possible when you can believe it, when you can imagine it, it's possible. And this is true. And this is what we are taught by Jeff and Shaleia, that even having our perfect lover in this lifetime with us and only with us is possible. This is amazing. I mean, it's still, I feel like this work is still, it's not new, but it's still kind of new for the world. And we are blessed that we are able to walk this path and share it with the world and spread also Christ consciousness deeper and embody it deeper and really bring healing also in all the religions and separation in all the religions. Healing it, bringing it to the people is a really beautiful thing. Yeah.
I know it loses kind of its traction when we say like harmonious twin flame union in our community, because, you know, we're growing in that paradise, we're growing in that heaven. So it kind of becomes so instilled at us that it's like, this is our life now. But yeah, I do want to take a moment to recognize how miraculous that is to have our perfect divine partner with us. And the miracles we experience every day is just beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So I'm just checking the comments right now to see whether someone has to say something.
It's
If
almost
you
time. It's almost time.
Yeah, time flies when you enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
So just everyone is wishing happy Easter. So happy Easter to everyone. And I'm not sure. I'm feeling pretty complete. How about you?
Yeah, I feel complete.
Yes. I feel
Yeah,
good.
great. So thank you so much for all your shares and for participating here in the After Church Tea Time. Thank you for everyone watching. And thank you for everyone watching this on YouTube. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And check out our website, unionism.org. And so with that being said, I wish you still all a happy Easter and hope to see you in the next After Church Tea Time and Sermon. Thank you, everyone.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.